There are days when the weight of becoming better feels heavier than staying the same. When just getting out of bed feels like a battle you didn't ask to fight. And yet, here you are, still trying. That is strength. Quiet. Undeniable. Stoic strength. Share this with the important people in your life. Let them know that they are important in your life. You don't have to fix everything today. Self-improvement is not a mountain you conquer in a single climb. It's the habit of showing up over and over, even when your heart feels empty. You begin not with grand plans, but with stillness. Sit with yourself, not to judge, but to listen. Ask, what am I avoiding? What pain am I pretending not to feel? What do I keep chasing that never brings me peace? The Stoics didn't seek power. They sought alignment between thought, action, and purpose. Start with small habits that sharpen that alignment. Wake up and breathe before you check a screen, before you rush. Just breathe. Write one honest sentence in a journal. Not to impress, but to understand. Move your body. Not to punish it, but to honor the life that lives inside it. Speak less than you listen. React slower than you feel the impulse to react. You don't need control. You need clarity. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. If someone misunderstands you, let them. If the world moves faster than you can keep up, let it. Your pace is not a failure. Your slowness is not weakness. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. Self-improvement is not becoming someone else. It's returning to the person you were meant to be before the noise, before the fear, before the world tried to tell you who you should become. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are beginning again. And that is more than enough. Growth isn't loud. It's not urgent. It doesn't shout. It's in the silence, in the pauses between your thoughts. It's in the moment you choose to respond with calm instead of anger. It's in the second you forgive yourself for the mistake instead of spiraling into shame. You are improving, not because everything feels easy now, but because you're no longer hiding from difficulty. You've stopped asking the world to be soft with you. Instead, you're learning to be soft with yourself. That is where real change begins. With compassion, not punishment. With stillness, not hustle. With patience, not perfection. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." How often do you punish yourself with imagined futures? How often do you replay what might happen instead of what is happening? Pause. Come back to now. Right now, you are safe. You are breathing. You are alive. And that is the only place where change begins. Discipline is not forcing yourself. It's reminding yourself of who you truly are. A quiet mind, a resilient heart, a soul that wants peace more than it wants power. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be consistent. Drink water slowly. Let it remind you of life's simplicity. Clean a small corner of your space, not to impress, but to care for what's yours. Make your bed. Not because it solves your problems, but because it reminds you you still have choice. Control is an illusion, but clarity is always yours to keep. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. Some days, the only improvement is not giving up. That counts. Some days the only win is that you didn't fall into old patterns. That matters. You don't need to change everything. You just need to hold your ground in the storm. And when the storm ends, as all storms do, you'll still be here, standing. The habit of self-improvement begins with observation. Observe your thoughts. Don't believe all of them. Observe your emotions. Let them pass without needing to fix them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What if your current struggle is not a block, but a doorway? What if this pain, this exhaustion, is showing you where to begin? Not with blame, not with guilt, but with presence. Look at your habits like a gardener looks at the soil, not with judgment, but with curiosity. What needs more light? What needs to be cut away? What needs time? You are not your mistakes. You are not your worst day. You are the space between. You are the breath that returns. You are the one who chooses again. Improvement isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You'll meet the same challenges again, but each time with more awareness, more grace, more strength. When you fall, don't ask, "Why did this happen again?" Ask, "What am I still learning from this?" Growth is not avoiding your triggers. It's learning not to be controlled by them. Let the habits you build be rooted in love for yourself, not hatred for who you've been. Wake early because you want to greet the day, not escape yesterday. Eat with awareness because your body deserves fuel, not punishment. Rest deeply because your mind deserves peace, not constant pressure. You don't need motivation, you need meaning. Ask yourself, why do I want to grow? Not for applause, not for perfection, but because you were made for peace. And anything that leads you back to that is worth it. Take breaks, not as escapes, but as sacred pauses. Drink tea like it's the only thing in the world. Watch the sunlight touch the walls in the morning. Let that be enough. Even the smallest act, done with intention, becomes a habit of the soul. Be slow. Be present. Be kind to yourself, to others, even to your own past. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind, through open hands. Let go of needing to be seen. Let go of needing to be right. Let go of needing to be anything other than exactly who you are in this moment. This is the path, not the noise, not the chase, not the endless fixing, but this quiet space inside you, where you breathe. And remember, you don't have to become someone else. You just have to come home to yourself and stay there, even when it hurts, even when it's messy, even when you feel like nothing is working. Stay, because your presence is your power, your stillness is your strength, your awareness is your greatest habit. Every day, return to that. One breath, one choice, one quiet act of remembering who you are. And when the noise of the world tries to pull you away again, as it will, come back here, to this stillness, to this voice inside you, and begin again. You're not late. You're not behind. You're right where your growth is happening. Don't rush the soil. Don't pull at the roots to make the tree grow faster. You're learning to be different, not because you hate who you were, but because you love who you're becoming. Self-improvement doesn't ask you to be better than others. It asks you to be more honest with yourself. Look at your life like a sculptor looks at stone, not with shame, but with vision. You're not broken, you're becoming. Each day, carve a little, just a little, wake up and sit in silence. No scrolling, no rushing, just sit. Let the day meet you, not the other way around. Speak one kind word to yourself, something gentle, something true, even if it feels awkward, even if your mind resists it. Say it anyway, because the words you speak to yourself shape the world you walk through. You don't need control. You need clarity. You don't need to plan every step. You need to take the next one with presence, and if you stumble, pause, reflect, then rise. Do not rush the return. Your resilience isn't measured by how quickly you bounce back, but by how softly you hold yourself while you heal. The habits that shape your soul are often invisible to others. No one sees you choosing silence over reaction. No one sees you putting your phone down to protect your peace. No one sees you resisting the urge to explain yourself, but you see it. And that's what matters. That is the real work, the internal practice of choosing stillness over chaos, integrity over ease, presence over distraction. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. Release the argument you keep replaying. Release the version of you that only existed to be liked. Release the need to prove. Your energy is sacred. Spend it like time. Build your habits around what replenishes you, not what drains you. Drink water before coffee. Stretch before screens. Breathe before speaking. Respond, don't react. Read more than you scroll. Journal your mind before the world fills it for you. All of this is practice, not performance. You're not here to impress. You're here to evolve, even if no one claps, even if no one notices, because the applause of others fades. But the peace you build inside yourself, that stays. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do what matters most to you, not what's trending, not what others expect. Strip away the noise. Ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do today that brings me closer to the life I respect? Maybe it's cleaning the dishes. Maybe it's going for a quiet walk without music. Maybe it's making that difficult call you've avoided. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. Small habits, done daily, shape a future that feels grounded, not forced. You don't need more willpower. You need more awareness. When you want to avoid something, pause. Ask, what discomfort am I trying to escape? Then meet it, gently, fully. Don't numb it. Name it, because what you name, you can understand. And what you understand, no longer controls you. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. Not the pain itself, and your reaction is something you can practice. Practice noticing, practice breathing, practice letting go before your anger builds a wall you didn't want. Let stillness be your default. Let pause be your power. Remember, the mind is like a room, and most days it's too cluttered to move freely. Your habits are how you sweep the floor, wake, breathe, move, write, reflect, rest, over and over and over, in that order or any order, but daily, because transformation doesn't happen in big events. It happens in unnoticed moments of choice, like choosing to say no when you used to say yes out of fear, like choosing to turn off the light and sleep, not because you're exhausted, but because you finally respect your rest. Like choosing to stop explaining yourself to people who don't want to understand you. Each choice is a thread, and over time, those threads become a life, a quiet life, a meaningful one, a life rooted in presence, not performance, a life where you're no longer chasing the idea of success, you're living what success feels like. Clarity, integrity, calm. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. Hold loosely, move slowly, speak kindly, think deeply, act simply, and remember, you don't have to get everything right. You just have to keep returning to what's true, to what brings you peace, to what reminds you. You are already enough, even as you grow. Especially as you grow, because growth is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole, and in your wholeness, there is stillness, there is strength, there is you, just you, still breathing, still trying, still here, and that is more than enough. You don't need to transform overnight. You just need to show up, quietly, repeatedly, with intention. There's a kind of healing that happens in silence, when you stop searching and start listening, not to the world, but to yourself. Because underneath all the noise, you already know what needs to change. You've always known. The problem isn't lack of knowledge. It's forgetting to return to it every day. That's why habits matter. They're not just routines. They're anchors, They hold you steady when life feels like a storm. So, anchor yourself. Wake up and open the window. Let the light in. Let the world greet you gently. Put your feet on the ground and say, I am here. That's it, because presence is power. Not the kind that shouts, the kind that whispers, I don't need to chase what's already inside me. You don't need control. You need clarity. You need to see your own life with soft eyes, to stop judging yourself for not being further, and start admiring yourself for not giving up. That's strength. That's self-respect. And that is what builds the kind of habits that last. When you choose rest over burnout, silence over reaction, growth over comfort, you become the kind of person you once thought you had to fake. It's not about doing more. It's about being more aligned with what matters, aligned with who you are when no one's watching. Because real self-improvement isn't loud. It's the quiet discipline of doing what's right, even when it's invisible. Like choosing water when you're tempted by numbness. Like making your bed not for others to see, but to remind yourself that you deserve order. Like writing down your thoughts when your mind feels like a storm, not to fix it, just to face it. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. Let go of timelines. Let go of the pressure to always be productive. You are not a machine. You're not here to maximize. You're here to feel, to become fully human. That means you'll have days when your habits break, when you fall back into patterns you swore you'd left behind. That's not failure. That's feedback. Learn from it, gently, honestly. Then, begin again. Self-improvement is not about never falling. It's about falling slower and rising softer. It's about returning to the things that center you, like writing just one sentence in your journal, like taking 10 deep breaths before answering a message, like whispering, I am safe, when anxiety comes knocking. These small rituals, they're not minor, they're holy. They're reminders that you are the keeper of your peace. No one else can protect it for you. So protect it. Choose solitude over overstimulation. Choose stillness over scrolling. Choose boundaries that guard your time like a sacred flame. Because your time is your life. You don't owe it to everyone. You owe it to yourself first, so that what you give others is not your leftovers, but your overflow. Practice saying no, not out of fear, out of love. Because every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what restores you. You say yes to better sleep, to deeper focus, to genuine peace. That's what Stoicism invites you to remember. You don't have to fight every storm. You just have to stop letting the wind carry your attention away. Anchor yourself in values, not moods. Let character guide your calendar. Let meaning shape your mornings. And when the day doesn't go as planned, let go. You are not here to win the day. You are here to live it. With presence, with grace, with steadiness. One breath at a time. One moment at a time. And that's enough. That's always been enough. You don't need more motivation. You need more compassion. For yourself. The kind that says, you're allowed to grow slowly. The kind that says, even if no one sees your effort, I do. Because you live with you. Every hour, every thought, every breath. Build habits that honor that relationship, not habits that impress. Habits that restore. Drink water not just to hydrate, but to return to your body. Eat slowly, not just to digest, but to respect your hunger. Move your body, not to punish it, but to thank it. Self-improvement is not a punishment. It's a process of remembering that you are worth the effort, even on the days when your mind tells you otherwise, especially on those days, because the mind, it lies, but the soul, It whispers truth. And your habits, they're how you listen. Every morning, you wake up and keep trying. That's self-respect in motion. Every time you speak kindly to yourself in the mirror. That's courage in practice. Every time you sit down to reflect instead of run away. That's how change begins, not with grand declarations, but with quiet choices, over and over, day by day. And those choices, they become you. They shape the way you carry yourself through joy and through pain. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. So choose your reaction. Choose breath. Choose reflection. Choose patience. Let it move through you, like wind, like water. Don't hold it. Don't fight it. Flow and keep flowing, because you're not here to win life. You're here to live it. Wisely, softly, deliberately. The world rushes, but you don't have to. You can slow down. Right now, right here, you can breathe deeper than the noise, because real power is quiet. It's in the space between the thoughts, the pause before the reaction, the decision before the habit. That's where your strength lives, not in how much you do, but in how deeply you live what you do. So ask yourself, what are you building? Not for others, for you. Are your habits a form of self-respect or self-escape? Are you nourishing the parts of you that are tired or just distracting them? There's a difference. You don't need another checklist. You need rituals that carry meaning. Because when life feels heavy, you don't rise by force, you rise by remembering your purpose. And sometimes that purpose is simple: to be a little more awake today, a little more gentle, a little more consistent with your values. Not perfect, not finished, just honest. Because honesty is healing. One of the most powerful habits you can build is telling yourself the truth, without cruelty. I am struggling, and that's okay. I feel lost, and I am still worthy. I don't have it all figured out, and I don't need to. That's the voice of a mind becoming free, free from shame, free from expectations, free from the illusion that healing must look a certain way. You don't heal in straight lines, you heal in spirals, returning to the same wounds with deeper understanding each time. So don't resent your repeats. Repetition is refinement. More you return to your habits, the more they return to you. And in those quiet returns, you remember that peace isn't found, it's practiced. You don't chase clarity, you cultivate it, like lighting a candle every night before bed, like sitting in silence before the day begins, like writing not to impress, but to feel. Self-improvement isn't about changing who you are, it's about returning to who you were. Before the world taught you to doubt it, you were always capable, you just forgot. So remember gently, when your thoughts spiral, return to your breath. When your energy dips, return to your body. When your purpose feels blurry, return to your values. And when you mess up, when you skip the habit, when you fall short, when the old pattern pulls you in, don't punish yourself. That's not the Stoic way. The Stoic way is to observe and return, not with guilt, with grace. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." So when a habit breaks, don't make it mean you are broken. It's just a signal, a moment, a fork in the road. You get to choose how you respond, and every time you respond with awareness, you're strengthening a different kind of muscle, not physical, not visible, but deeply, deeply powerful. Resilience, discipline, peace. And peace isn't passive. Peace is built, moment by moment, through habits that align with truth. The truth that you are enough, that you don't need to be fixed, you just need to be heard. So listen to yourself. Make space to pause, not just for meditation, but for meaning. Let meaning breathe in your day, even in simple acts, washing the dishes slowly, walking without your phone, reading a page without rushing. These aren't just routines, they're rituals of return. Return to presence, return to stillness, return to yourself. And when the noise gets loud again, because it will, let what? You can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. You're not here to control it all. You're here to carry yourself through it all, with dignity, with integrity, with habits that whisper, even now, I choose to come back. To the breath, to the moment, to the practice, because you are not what you've done. You are what you're becoming every time you choose to begin again. Every habit you build is a vote for who you wish to be. So vote gently and keep voting. Drink water slowly, as if returning to yourself with every sip. Stretch your body, not to change its shape, but to honor its aliveness. Speak to yourself as you would to a friend lost in the dark. You wouldn't rush them. You wouldn't shame them. You'd sit quietly beside them until they felt safe to move. So do the same for you. Let your habits be that safe place, not a prison of discipline, but a sanctuary of intention. And when the day is hard, when the fog comes back, sit, breathe, wait. It will pass, and you'll remain. Not because of strength alone, but because of the habits that kept you anchored when everything else drifted. That's the work, that's the way, and you're doing better than you think. There is no need to rush. Your life is not a race. It is not a competition. It is a path. Winding, imperfect yours, and every step matters, even the slow ones, especially the slow ones. There is a kind of strength in not giving up, even when nothing around you is pushing you forward, even when no one sees your effort. But you see it, and that's enough. When you choose to sit with your thoughts, instead of running from them. When you choose to show up for your body, even in quiet ways. When you choose to forgive yourself, without needing a reason. That is self-improvement, not a transformation, but a return to something you already are, something solid, something whole. You don't need control, you need clarity. Clarity to see what truly matters, clarity to stop fighting battles that aren't yours, clarity to let go of the noise and listen to your own inner rhythm, because you do have one. You just forget sometimes. The habit of stillness helps you remember, and stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing one thing, completely, without judgment, without haste, brushing your teeth with intention, sitting down to eat without distraction, looking out a window without trying to solve anything. That's stillness. That's presence. And presence is a habit, one that makes space for every other habit to take root. Without presence, even the best habits feel empty. With presence, even the simplest habit feels sacred. So make your habit sacred, not perfect, not rigid. Sacred, something you return to because it centers you, because it reminds you of who you want to be. Not to prove your worth, but to protect it, to water it. Every morning you wake up and make your bed. That's not just tidiness. It's a vote for order. Every evening you put your phone away and sit in silence. That's not boredom. It's a vote for peace. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, especially when you feel like a failure, that's not denial. That's the beginning of wisdom, because pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength, and your habits are how you train that reaction. In the storm, you return to breath. In fear, you return to values. In doubt, you return to truth. You don't push it all away. You let it move through you, like wind through open hands. No grasping, no forcing, just allowing, letting life come and go while you remain anchored, not in control, but in clarity. So, take your time. When it's hard to focus, that's not failure. That's life asking you to pause. When you forget your habit, that's not weakness. That's a gentle reminder to begin again. Beginning again is a sacred act. It's not starting over, it's returning. And every return makes the habit deeper, wiser, more human. You are not a machine. You're not meant to be perfect. You're meant to feel, and the more you feel, the more you understand what truly supports you. What's real, what's yours, that's where your habits live, in that quiet understanding. Like reading one page each day, not to finish the book, but to stay close to your curiosity. Like writing a single sentence each night, not to publish, but to listen to your soul, like pausing before you speak. Not to impress, but to choose your words with care. This is not performance. This is presence, and presence over time becomes peace. Peace not because life gets easier, but because you become more rooted. Rooted in your practices, rooted in your perspective, rooted in your own values, and values become visible through repetition. Through showing up, not once, but again, and again, and again. That's what habits are. They are not goals, they are not trends, they are mirrors. They show you what you truly believe in, not what you say, but what you live. So live slowly, live honestly, live in a way that lets you look back and say, I stayed close to myself. Even when it was messy, even when it was quiet, even when no one was watching. That's strength, that's stoic, not the hard face, not the silent suffering, but the quiet consistency, the whispered decision each day to come back, to peace, to presence, to practice. Let your days be a practice. Let your habits hold you. You don't have to chase motivation. You don't need to feel inspired, you just need to return to that single moment when you choose presence over distraction, kindness over criticism, practice over perfection. And the next day, you choose again and again. That's how change happens quietly, softly, deeply. That's how you become someone new without losing who you are. Because you were always whole. The habit is just how you remember. There is no need to force anything. Let what feels natural come back to you. Let what no longer serves you fall away, without drama, without guilt, without clinging. The oak tree does not mourn every leaf it sheds, and you don't need to mourn every version of yourself that you outgrow. This too is self-improvement, letting go. Letting go of urgency, of comparison, of stories that no longer reflect who you truly are. Letting go is not giving up. It's clearing space for peace, for clarity, for your next quiet evolution. You don't need control. You need clarity. Control tries to shape every outcome. Clarity simply sees and acts wisely, and clarity is cultivated in silence. So make time for silence. Even just a few minutes a day, where there is no input, no agenda, just you, breathing, existing, listening. In that space, you'll start to hear something quieter than thought, something more enduring than mood. You'll hear your own steady rhythm, not the voice of fear, not the voice of others, your voice. And that's who your habits are for, not for the world. Not for appearance, for you, to support you, to soften you, to strengthen you. Your habits are your shelter, so build them slowly, build them lovingly, and understand. No habit needs to be extreme to be meaningful. Drinking a glass of water after waking up, opening a window before you check your phone, stretching for 1 minute before bed. These things matter, not because they change your life overnight, but because they remind you that you are worth caring for. And the more often you return to that reminder, the deeper it settles into your bones. You are worth caring for, even when you feel behind, even when you feel broken, even when you feel like nothing is changing. especially then, because pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength, and strength doesn't always look like pushing harder. Sometimes it looks like resting without guilt. Sometimes it looks like saying no, even when you're afraid of disappointing someone. Sometimes it looks like asking for help. There's strength in softness. There's power in gentleness. You are allowed to grow quietly. You are allowed to become more without becoming louder. This world may not always notice your effort, but you will, and that's enough. Let what you can't change pass through. You like wind through open hands. You don't need to hold everything. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to stay rooted in your values, in your presence, in your practices. That's why habits matter, because in a world that pulls you in every direction, they bring you back to your center, to your breath, to your body, to the moment in front of you. That's where peace lives, not in the future, not in achievement. Here, now. So bring your habits here. Don't treat them as ladders. Treat them as anchors. They're not for climbing above yourself. They're for coming home to yourself. You don't have to do it all. You just have to do what matters. Again and again, lovingly, patiently. That's how we change. Not through force, but through consistency. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to live truthfully, to move honestly, to feel deeply, and your habits are how you shape that kind of life. Not with rules, with rituals, with tiny moments of return. You return to slowness. You return to stillness. You return to your breath. And each time you do, the noise gets a little quieter. The fog gets a little thinner. The path becomes a little clearer. Not because it changed, but because you did. You became steady, not perfect, steady. You learned to sit in discomfort without panicking. You learned to breathe through chaos without collapsing. You learned to trust yourself again. That's self-improvement. It doesn't always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like stillness. Sometimes it feels like grief. Sometimes it feels like a long pause, but underneath it all, something is forming, a new layer of strength, a deeper kind of peace, and you don't have to see it to trust it. You just have to keep returning to your breath, to your practice, to the person you are when no one is watching. That's the person your habits are shaping, and that person is already enough.